everyone, welcome back to the Flat Thunder channel. My name's Andy, and this is a brand new box that I got in the mail. There comes a point in time in every man's life where you need a specific tool or a specific piece of equipment to do a job. And the logical thing to do would be to outsource that job and or purchase the completed component that you need from someone who has the proper equipment. If you're like me, you're going to buy a piece of equipment. Just so happens that you're going to have to buy a Chinese El Cheapo version, but this one had good reviews. It's a Fox Alien brand, and it is a CNC laser. So we're going to use this to try to create a laser engraved placard that I need to make, and right now I don't know how it's going to work. Let's get this box open, put it all together, and see if we can create what we need. Here's the manual. This is the model number LE4040 Fox Alien laser engraver. Thanks for sticking with me. Got this all assembled. Took approximately an hour to an hour and 15 minutes start to finish. No real issues. I had one or two fumbles along the way. Nothing major. Just looking at it now up here, I tried to install this beneath this little support rod, a cable carrier, and that was allowed to droop. So make sure you put it above this little support rod here on the x-axis. It doesn't say in the instructions to use the washers that were supplied, but I used the washers on every M5, on all these acrylic plates, and on the circuit board mounting. I was missing some set screws for these little corner angle brackets that attach the extruded aluminum rails from each side. But it did come with a bag with 3 extra screws, and luckily I was only missing 2. I did try to make sure it was square with the speed square here. It's probably not very accurate because this workbench isn't the flattest. During the debugging phase, you might double check all the squareness once we get a good work table to set it on. It's not going to stay here. This was just where we assembled it. But so far, everything mechanically is assembled. I think it was all relatively easy. The only problem, other than those few minor issues that I saw, was this bracket here for the Y-axis cable carrier. When you come all the way to the end, this bolt on the side acrylic piece here wants to hit this. So I ended up spacing it off with 2 regular washers for 1/4-20 bolts, and it still gave me just a little bit, maybe 1 or 2 threads of the bolt to fasten it. May have to do something different there if that falls out, but right now that's able to get us the full stroke. What do they call what axis? On the Y. The full stroke on the Y. Without those, this fastener was hitting. So we're ready to go. I think this is pretty cool. The drive motors, when you move it, back feed and give power in the circuit board and make the indicator light up. All the axes are really smooth. They're belt drive, and these cable carriers are real nice. So far, without seeing it work, I'm really impressed. If you want to get really picky with it, the laser head is only attached with thumb screws. I wish it had something to, ensure that the laser head was straight, but this will allow you to swap out and change to different laser heads relatively easy. I did try to make it square with the tracks, but end of the day, it's probably not super critical. I'm excited. Fire away. That time she did it. Repeatability is pretty good. So that could be like a little paper gasket for like a idle air control valve, or maybe a fuel pump. Pretty good, way better than I could ever cut it. Anytime the height changes, you want to check the focal point. You use a piece of paper, you can slide it around. What you want to do is, see if my fingers in the way, adjust the beam. You see it? You want to adjust the laser beam so it's a nice small as fine as possible dot. So now we're going to try at 1,000 millimeters per minute on the feed rate with 100% power, and we're going to do 2 passes. I also shrunk it up so it would fit on the same piece of cardboard. It's got a good depth. I can catch the depth with my fingernail, but it's not through yet. It's through. Started to burn the wood. That's 4 passes is 1,000 millimeters per minute, 100% power. So we could probably just slow it down and do 2 passes at 500 millimeters per minute. Seemed to work pretty good. I'm not for sure why it has these transfer lines. I did cut those in there a little bit. That's probably something along the lines of programming. I mean, it's not through, but it did score the material where the gasket would be. So for this thickness, 500 millimeters per minute, 100% capacity, 2 passes. Well, it's all done with this cut. It wasn't really a cut as much as it was an etching, removing all the paint from this aluminum. We had similar issues to the previous gasket where the transfer lines didn't turn the laser off completely. I'm not for sure why it's doing that. So this line from here to here and this line here where it jumped between the different patterns, those are not supposed to be there, but other than that it looks pretty good. Moved all the paint in that area. Maybe could have done the oval a little bit wider. Put a couple more passes on the oval. I think it looks good. You? Perfecto. So as you can see, this new just stencil line, it's actually a pretty nice cut depth. This stencil line doesn't have these little transition cuts that would mess up the gasket as it was previously, so now the program's fixed. And if you go, probably going to be hard to see on here, but if you go right here to this line of code, it says $32 equals 1. And that was a coding within the controller that wasn't set correctly. So once that was adjusted, we're good to go. Okay, we're going to rerun a smaller, scaled down version of the gasket just to see if it will effectively mark this layout die so you can get some center points in there for drilling holes. The outline is there. It's just very faint to the point where, you know, unless you're doing something complicated, I don't know that you'd want to go this route, because you'd have to go over it several passes to remove that layout die. So this is one of those alternative approaches. Thought of this from my attempt earlier to
etch it with tape over it, which definitely doesn't work. The laser's just not strong enough. It's not the right kind of laser, but it will cut the tape, and as you can see, get a much more distinct set of lines. And if you throw some tape over your surface instead of layout dye, and add center points in, you know, this could give you a relatively quick and easy way to lay parts out. There you have it. Here's your tape flange, or you can make a bunch of dots if you really wanted. Party time.
Everybody, thanks for watching my video on this Fox Alien CNC laser engraver. We had a couple different projects on here that we tried just basically as testing. We have our paper gaskets. I think we got that dialed in. We did a little layout using some masking tape. The layout die didn't work so hot. Printed a Ford oval on some aluminum that was painted. That turned out really good. The first day that I unboxed this unit, in less than 3 hours, I was burning images. This can be fine-tuned. This was just a really quick picture of me. You can almost tell that that's me. I know it's me, but maybe you can't tell. And then here's where it really shines, is burning into wood and etching wood. Obviously we got the Flat Thunder logo right on, and that's almost a 1/16 inch deep. That's a pretty good burn. This was done in a cross pattern, multiple passes, 5 passes this way and 5 passes this way. It was at 1,000 millimeters per minute at 50% power. I found that burning wood, you want to keep the power lower and then do multiple passes. That turned out really good. This side made the official YouTube logo. That also turned out really nice. If you like this video, don't forget to give me a thumbs up. Leave your questions and comments in that section below, and I'll try my best to answer them. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button over there. We got more video content coming out. This is a little bit different area than we're usually into, but we will be using this laser in the future on other small projects and to do some laser etching and engraving. We're going to try and see if we can get it to work on metals. It's not really the right type of laser, but we're going to give it a shot anyways. Thanks for watching, everyone.